time for another video. It's a religious one. This time, you know, me and my brother, we had like a text message conversation. You know, all of a sudden he became more Christian. Not saying that we grew up in that household. I'm just saying, he called himself trying to teach me something. You know, sending me videos about people's depiction of hell and stuff like that. I guess it scared him. He's trying to scare me and all this stuff. But here's the thing about hell. The basis of what hell is, what the torment aspect of hell is basically immortality. Hell, being in torment forever. The immortality element of hell. That's what gets people. But my conclusion to what hell is, the torment part is not having help. Being unable to be helped forever. When people talk about God and Jesus and things like that, they like to preach the love aspect. Then they talk about the hell aspect as if that's not the same God they're talking about. So basically they're saying God is going to bring you back to life, torment you forever. So what are they really saying when Christians, a lot of Christians talk about hell? You're going to be brought back to life to be tormented. Why not just leave you dead? So what is people really saying? One aspect, you have heaven. People say when they die, they're going to heaven. All right, then when you die and go to heaven, why would you really need to be good on earth? If you're just going to be remade again into a new being, not really remembering, why I need to do good if you're just going to be remade into a new creature, a new being? See what I'm saying, folks? A lot of people don't understand what they read, don't know what's going on, adding things and pretending that's not what they're doing. Clean slate, man. In the Bible, Jesus clearly talks about there's no giving to each other in marriage. When the Pharisees try to trip him up about the 7 wives, Jesus clearly said there's no giving in marriage, there's no marriage in heaven. You'll be perfect like the angels in heaven. Alluding to there's really no, dare I say it, gender in the way we think it is. Why would an angel, an immortal being, have a need to procreate? See, people don't think about stuff like that. Procreation is the ways of the mortal. Things that die, things that must procreate to keep the mortal thing going. An immortal wouldn't have a need to procreate. Hence gender. Gender serves a purpose. Genders serve a purpose. Male and female serve a purpose. Procreation. But in heaven, would there even be a male and female? Think about that, folks. An immortal being is complete. Don't need to procreate. But how would an immortal being create life? It wouldn't per se come from them. They would have to create it manually from the outside. We can say this, you know, all this is God training, how would an immortal being create a son or a daughter? They would have to create them from scratch, from the outside. It wouldn't come from a body because they don't have the machinery. See what I'm saying, folks? Things get real deep when you start thinking. But a typical Christian, man, I'm not trying to say y'all bad people, man, but a lot of you all don't think. Y'all don't use y'all brain. Y'all scared to use it. They call it cognitive dissonance. You hit with information that gives you conflicting views about reality. It can break you. It can break your mind. People always talk about why God don't do it. That would just come down and show Himself. Our universe don't show what our universe is capable of. Just start bending reality. Don't you people know? If God did those things, it would break your mind. That's why when Jesus did miracles, those miracles around the prophets, those reality-altering miracles, the prophets, they didn't even understand what was happening. Their mind couldn't reconcile what Jesus was doing. It almost was like they didn't see it. Their minds couldn't. It went right over their heads, breaking the bread over and over again, being left with basketfuls when you only started with a handful of pieces of bread and fish. That's called multiplication from little to nothing. That's altering the laws of reality, folks. The apostles saw it, but their mind couldn't piece it together. Their mind made it out to be something what they wanted to see. Something that was easy for them to digest. They probably just blanked it out and say, oh, Jesus just brought some food. Their mind couldn't even grasp what was happening. That's why God don't just bend reality, man. If God start bending reality, what makes a person sane and not insane is that the laws of reality is just constant. Bam, you hit the ground all the time. It fucks you up, excuse my language. It hurts. It's just solid. Touch the ground, it's solid. You're standing on solid ground, you're not sinking into it. It's not morphing into water, into liquid. Reality is not swirling around like a ice cream swirl or the laws is constant, they're dependable. You can depend on these laws remaining stable and constant year after year, century after century, eon after eon. If you start bending and morphing these laws and start turning rocks into water and all this stuff in people's faces, they would snap. You would snap. You saying you would go crazy. The very things that you trust in, that's constant, that's reliable, dependable, the laws of reality, scientists, whites and white lab coats call them the laws of physics. If these things start altering and being changed before your eyes, you wouldn't be able to handle it. You would snap and go insane. A lot of you people don't know what you're asking. That's why, in order to bend these laws, you got to have a certain kind of consciousness. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can tell this mountain to be thrown from here to there and it'll obey you. But once you get to that point of understanding, you would know that it would cause more damage to people than good. You don't care how many X-Men movies you see, that kind of stuff will do massive damage to a person's psyche. They start seeing weird stuff out of the ordinary that they couldn't explain. Just imagine you just driving down the road and the whole road just twisted up and just start morphing into things. How would you have a grasp on reality? People, sanity is kept when things are stable, man. When things is constant, when you can depend on things being what they are. insane people, that's when they grasp of reality is not stable. Even though reality is stable, to them it's not. You don't want to go insane, folks. It's not pretty. I deal with that all the time. Insanity. Trying to remain stable. Cops that rolled up on somebody. You don't want to go insane, man. I'm telling you. It's not. That's what hell is. See, people always talk about hell, the fire and all that, the torment. That's insanity. The basis of hell is immortality and insanity. The insanity that it brings by not having peace. You asking for help and you're not getting it, but you can't die. But the immortal aspect of hell is what makes it extra terrifying. But you got people talking about living forever in peace. I'm saying, since God is asking for us to do right on earth, Christians, speaking of y'all, doesn't that tell you that what you know here is going to apply in the future, in the afterlife, quote unquote afterlife? Apparently, the learning lessons here on this earth, in this reality, is supposed to prepare us for eternal life, man, to be able to cope with it, to have the tools to deal with it. Otherwise, why are we even training to do good, to be disciplined? Do y'all even think about that? Or you think you do good here, you get wiped clean, and you get made anew, and that's the reward? Oh, you don't remember anything about your pain and sorrows of this world? That's not how God operates. It's not no abstract involved. It's a purpose to doing good, quote unquote good. But I have my own ideas of good, right and wrong, which to me is all relative. Good and evil is relative. Might determines who's right. That's why I'm different than a typical Christian. I have Christian teachings, but I'm on another wavelength. You know, my brother, he want to say that's some blasphemy because I'm trying to make him think, man. You know, like do you Christians even think about Abraham and his son Isaac, when he was supposed to go and sacrifice his son? Do y'all even ponder what that passage was about? It says, God says, now I know. Now I know. Come on, man, think about it. Now I know, because you was about to sacrifice your son. Now I'm gonna bless you. Now I know. So yeah, God had doubt. God didn't know Abraham before his name was changed to Abraham. God didn't know him. To say now I know, God knows all. And that's a fact. Our universe knows everything. Our universe is sentient. But perhaps the God that's in that book, that's not the same God. That sounds like a God who's not really omnipotent. More so like an entity, a powerful being, maybe an extraterrestrial. We can't just put that off the table. That life on this earth could have been seeded by very advanced technological beings. But what do we say? Do we say God doesn't exist because some beings put us here? No. Because something made them. Our universe is the apex, the infinite black, the infinite reality, aka infinite reality. All things made inside the infinite, the vast infinite, the laws of reality created. Even God-like intelligent beings who can create life and seed planets. Even if they were to come down and say, we made you, and they would exhibit some God-like powers, they still not God. Don't the Bible even allude to that? When angels come down and speak to the prophets fall to their knees. What do the angels tell them? Get up off your knees. We're like you. Even though they're more technologically advanced, they still say that. They're telling you the truth. In that book, we're technologically advanced and God-like to you, but we've been created. Just saying, folks, you gotta wake up. Like the book of Job talks about God making a deal with the devil. God would know everything. God would know that entertaining the devil is futile. And why would you hurt your child to try to prove a point to the devil? Are you in doubt? That's why I consider that book a story. It's just a story, man. Somebody thought it up and used that story to try to cope with troubles in life, man. Jesus clearly said God doesn't tempt anybody. So why would Jesus say that? And then you had the book of Job saying otherwise. Allowing the devil to be tempted. Is that a technicality? Did God play those games? To be factual, to say that God doesn't tempt anyone, but he'll let the devil do it? No, man. People got to think, man. Wake the up. Think about it, man. Talk about the Garden of Eden. Eve said a serpent made her eat from the tree. Really? Eve didn't lie? What happens when you catch a child doing something you told them not to do? The first thing they say is they blame somebody usually, right? Wasn't no serpent. Eve told a lie. Then who was God talking to? If you read that passage, it was as if God was kind of like talking in the air, knowing that Eve didn't know what she really did, was naive, and didn't understand that she was lying. It was almost like God was speaking in a stoic way in that passage, not really talking to anything. See, because if he was really talking to the devil or to that being in the garden, why didn't the being have anything to say? So you got to open your eyes, man, open your mind and start piecing things together, folks. Things in the Bible, some facts, some story. They're called books of the Bible. Things that people put in there. Things that Caucasians, known for their brutality and enslaving the black people, put in there. That's just the facts, man. They decided what goes in there. So they more holier than others to decide what goes in there, right? A religion based on Middle Eastern areas. They way up in Europe somewhere. So they know more about what makes a Christian than the people in those areas, in the eastern areas. I'm saying, folks, man, it's time for y'all to piece things together. I just shake my head, man. People claim to be atheists. You can be an atheist all you want to. That doesn't scare me for you to say you're an atheist. Be whatever you want to be. People can put a rope around their neck and hang themselves if they want to. That's their prerogative. I don't say anything about it, but you don't scare me. I know there's a God, our infinite reality. Y'all hear me say that? Y'all don't understand. Y'all trying to grasp for an ending. No, man. You got to embrace the infinite. If you can't embrace the infinite, you're not going to ever see the truth, man, the way it need to be seen. And I'm learning. I'm not one of those who say, I know the truth and that's that. Don't it say in the Bible that Christ would say those who have will be given more? That means those who have understanding will be given more. It's a leveling up thing. Those who don't have, even what they have, will be taken away from them. If you don't have nothing, you're not going to get nothing. And the little that you have, something's going to come along and seed doubt, and you're going to lose that. Put the puzzle together, folks. Told y'all it's going to be something about religion. Hope this helps somebody. Lead them in the right track. Or maybe they just tune out. Y'all just tune out and have cognitive dissonance. You won't even see what I'm talking about or hear what I'm talking about. They call it blasphemy. You know, that's funny. How could you call somebody who can speak in tongues a blasphemer? That's a gift from God, right? Yet my own brother said it. He called what I said was blasphemy. That's funny. When you get baptized, you speak in tongues, man. That's not a lightweight thing. You know, that's why some truths in the Bible, but then the way people put it together, you know, there's stories in there. There's teachings, the things that help people cope with reality. And how you people be asking, why don't God do this and that? And I already told y'all, man, y'all can't handle it. And y'all really don't want what y'all asking. To see reality bend and morph and twist and do things you never seen. That'll break your mind, I'm telling y'all. That'll break your mind. Y'all won't be able to cope. Now what am I saying? It ain't gonna ever be done. Y'all people won't be ready for it to be done. Yeah, but under extreme and most important circumstances, it can be done. You gotta be ready for it. You gotta be ready to see it and be ready to do it. And it ain't gonna be something that you're gonna be doing just to be doing. It gotta make absolute sense. Cause you'll do massive damage to people, man. It's almost like aliens coming down to the earth. See, that's actually extraterrestrials coming to the earth. That's actually more that's people can cope with that, especially all these sci-fi movies. That's more culpable. People can cope with that. But you start bending reality, twisting and morphing things. I'm talking about morphing in the literal sense. Swirling stuff around. Kind of like how Thanos did when he had the Infinity Gauntlet. Y'all not ready for that stuff. And even me, I may be ready for a little bit of it to see something out of the ordinary, but not on no massive scale, not on no stuff that you're seeing things that you depend on in reality all of a sudden being something totally out of the ordinary and unexplainable, or even if it is explainable. Like, hey man, I depend on this solid ground. Now it's water and now it's air. I'm telling y'all better think about what I'm saying. Stop taking these things lightly. Be asking God, why did you do this? Why did you do that? You show yourself. Yeah, you get your wish. If you be in a nutty house, Who gonna listen to you? To be continued.